In the heart of Philadelphia, where rowhouses stand shoulder to shoulder, and the pulse of the city beats strong through narrow streets, one night in December 2000 would carve itself into the city's memory. A night drenched in fear, chaos, and unimaginable loss. At 8:30 p.m., a small home on Lex Street became the scene of horror. 4 men entered, men who once called this neighborhood home. And within minutes, 10 lives were forever changed. 7 souls left this place. 3 miraculously survived. And it was the deadliest mass killing in Philadelphia's modern history. The victims weren't strangers to the streets. They were friends, fathers, sons, and neighbors. Their only crime being in the wrong place at the wrong time rings true in an old cliche. The perpetrators weren't faceless monsters from afar. They were products of the same concrete walls and broken promises that had raised them. This is not only a story of a massacre. This is the story of a city's reckoning. A story of vengeance, survival, and the haunting question. How could this happen here? Damn. This video is made for educational and awareness purposes only. All information comes from publicly available sources. Hey, what's up, yo? It's me, I'm
Bad Ape.
And we're back at it to do it again.
Bad Ape.
Remember, please take a second, subscribe to the channel, and give me a strong thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. And thank you again for riding with Nation X on another fantastic voyage. I'm excited, fam, and we're about to ride through the city of brotherly love. And now that we're here, it's only right that we see what the city of brotherly love have to offer us. So let's go on ahead and swing by. Independence Hall is one of the most historic sites in the United States. It's the birthplace of the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. Visitors can explore the assembly room where the founding fathers debated and signed these iconic documents. The building is located in Independence National Historical Park, surrounded by other important landmarks such as the Liberty Bell. The Liberty Bell is an enduring symbol of freedom and justice. Housed in the Liberty Bell Center, this iconic bell was originally used to summon lawmakers to legislative sessions. Today, visitors from around the world come to view the crack that made it famous and to learn about its role in American history. Admissions to see the Liberty Bell, believe it or not, is free. Speaking of that, the Philadelphia Museum of Art is one of the largest art museums in the country, home to the extensive collection spanning from centuries and continents. Beyond its impressive galleries, the museum's grand steps gained fame from the iconic film Rocky, making them a must-see spot for visitors. The museum offers breathtaking views of the city's skyline. Then, Reading Terminal. I'm not sure if you've ever been to the Reading Terminal, is a bustling indoor market offering authentic taste of Philadelphia, established in 1893. It features dozens of vendors selling everything from Amish baked goods to fresh produce and local specialties like the Philly cheesesteak and those Philly soft pretzels. The market is a favorite destination for both locals and tourists seeking a true culinary experience. Since we brought mention to it, you know something? It's only best that we speak on it. The Philadelphia cheesesteak is more than just a sandwich. It's a symbol of Philadelphia's blue-collar pride, culinary creativity, and neighborhood spirit, loved by locals and tourists alike. The cheesesteak is made with thinly sliced ribeye beef, melted cheese, and a long, crusty roll. I don't know about you, fam, but you can scoop my roll. Just go ahead and gut the roll, homie. I don't need all that. But the city's devotion to its beloved creation also fuels one of the most famous food-friendly rivalries in America. But as with every story, the Philadelphia cheesesteak origin story, as I understand it, was born off the streets of Philly, created by Pat and Henry Oliveri, brothers who owned a small hot dog stand at 9th and Pennsylvania Avenue. One day in 1930, Pat decided to grill some thinly sliced beef and put it on an Italian roll instead of a hot dog bun. That was good looking, fam. As legend has it, a passing cab driver caught the aroma, asked for one, and loved it, spreading the word around the city. Soon after, the Oliveri brothers switched gears, stopped selling hot dogs, and then the Philadelphia cheesesteak was born. They opened up a restaurant called Pat's King of the Steaks. Alright, yeah, I'll sign on to that, which still operates today at the same location. By the 1960s, the cheesesteak had become a staple of Philadelphia culture, and by 1966, Joey Vento opened Gino's Steaks right across from Pat's, igniting the family food-friendly rivalry that continues to this day. The more you know. The competition drew national attention, helping turn Philly cheesesteak into a culinary icon across the United States. I'm just glad he switched the pitch up on the dirty water dogs and slid into the cheesesteak. That's more my speed. Now, y'all already know how I feel about the dogs. I don't do glizzies, so, we're not doing that. Anyway, moving on. A true Philly cheesesteak starts with 3 essential ingredients. Quality bread. The bread must be a long, soft Italian roll, typically from local bakeries. The beef, usually ribeye, cooked on a flat-top grill until tender and juicy. Then chopped and mixed with onions. If you're into that, I am. So I'm not going to hold you. Please fry up my onions. I'm going to need that. The final step is the cheese, which comes down to personal preference. The 3 most common choices are Cheese Whiz, you can keep that. Provolone, that's me, and American cheese. I don't do American cheese, baby bear. The combination is then loaded onto a roll, resulting in a warm, flavorful masterpiece that defines Philadelphia street food. Now, I do want to say this. I did try the Philly cheesesteak. I've been by both. I love that competition. They put in work. When I'm in the city of brotherly love, at this point, you already know me, fam. Set me up with a 2-piece. I'm gonna need one for now and one for later. But that's just me though. You tell me where you stand. Do you prefer Pat's or do you prefer Gino's? But our research don't stop here. It takes us right into the heart of Philly. And this is where our story begins. And there's not too much significant background on the perpetrators. We're not going to introduce our players. So we're just going to slide right on into the story with this one. The Lex Street Massacre occurred on December 28th in the year 2000 at 816 North Lex Street in the Mill Creek neighborhood of West Philadelphia. The rowhouse where the shootings had taken place. According to police and official documents, this location was known for allegedly illegal drug activity. and had drawn previous attention from neighbors and law enforcement. Investigators later discovered the immediate motive was a personal dispute rather than gang warfare or organized drug territory conflict, which was previously prematurely and erroneously televised throughout the area. Talk about rush to judgment. Now remember, this is a key structure to this story, and it is important to note that when this originally hit the news, law enforcement immediately began sharing information about, quote, this is a known drug area, this is a turf war. Everything was drug related and everyone in the home was involved in some type of illicit street activity, and that was the root cause of why this had taken place, end quote. But nothing could have been further from the truth. As a matter of fact, nothing could have prepared anybody for what the truth is. More importantly, what the true motive was that led to the massacre. And this comes from the perpetrators themselves. In December 28, 2000, the massacre began. Around 10:45 p.m., gunfire erupted at 816 North Lex Street in West Philadelphia. 10 people were inside the home. 7 souls were instantly extinguished. Lying face down, shot with 9mm and .45 calibers. Early reports mistakenly claimed 3 survivors, later corrected to 1. Jerome Edwards, also known as Rome, was gravely wounded but survived by pretending to be deceased. According to court documents, the other 2 individuals were in other parts of the home and fled before being shot. Their identities were deliberately withheld from the public in early reports for safety reasons and later clarified during pre-trial motions, but not widely publicized. Initial investigation. Police described a, quote, slaughterhouse scene. The victims were shot, execution style, in what appeared to be a retaliatory attack linked to stolen drugs and money, end quote. However, a thorough investigation will later challenge that rush to judgment narrative. December 29th to the 31st of 2000, detectives began questioning local residents, focusing on possible drug-related motives. This massacre received so much public attention, 4 suspects were captured in January 2001 and charged. And after 18 months, insufficient evidence from the prosecution, they had to kick them loose. And all charges were dropped. Let me tell you why. It's something about that rushing to judgment. They didn't have the evidence. All 4 men were released and exonerated and sued the city for wrongful imprisonment, as they should. Their freedom was taken. Their characters were besmirched. Good luck getting a job with that hanging over your head. This was making the news all over the place, punitive damages. So these guys had to be made whole. So the DA's office cost the city just north of $2 million. That's a lot of coin. The DA's office, as far as they're concerned, they have sovereign immunity. They're not paying out the money. Why should they care? You want to know who paid that money? We do. Congratulations. We just picked up a new tab. Ultimately, it was a violation of their constitutional rights. They did exactly what anyone in this position should have done. So in this situation, the DA is like the weatherman. Not my fault. You get it screwed up. Whoops. No big deal. The people will just have to deal with it. That's how it is in any city. We, the people, will just have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. In early 2002, new information emerged after a jailhouse informant reported a confession from other men bragging about the massacre. Philadelphia police, acting on new evidence and confessions, the real perpetrators were identified. Ironically enough, their arrests came after the release of the 4 wrongfully accused individuals, January 15th, 16th, and 17th. The correct suspects were Dawu and Khalid Farquhar, but they denied being involved in the situation. Shaheen Black and Bruce Vinay, they were all formally charged with 7 counts of first degree and related offenses. When the 4 men were arrested, it was revealed that it was an issue over a car. Black, in his testimony to police, he said he traded a Chevrolet Corsica along with $300 for a Dodge Intrepid belonging to George Gibson Porter, one of the victims. Porter didn't know how to use the Corsica stick shift and blew out the clutch. You know what they used to say back in my day? Quote, can't find them, grind them, end quote. I'm not making that up, man. That's just what they used to say back in my day when driving the stick. After these issues, Porter had went back to Daewoo Farquhar, who had also traded a pistol for the Dodge Intrepid. Porter wanted his Dodge back, but refused to pay for the damaged clutch in the Corsica. So as it turned out later on, Porter, who had an extra set of keys, he doubled back the next day, confiscating his car. It was a bad car deal that gone wrong. That's what led to all the blasting. According to testimony, Black told police that night wasn't meant to go the way that it went. How many times have we heard that before? In any event, they were just going to corral everybody and, put the fear in them. But unfortunately for Daewoo, he didn't secure his mask. Once the mask fell off, his face was revealed. And from that point, we got to turn the lights up on everybody. That's when they say, all hell broke loose. Immediately, all 10 people lined up face down on the floor. And one by one, as survivor testimony states, quote, execution style, end quote. That's when the shooting began and 7 souls left this place. Damn. Under interrogation, Bruce Vinay, Shaheem Black, they confessed they were involved and ultimately pleaded guilty. By March 8th, 2004, all 4 men were convicted. Now, the detailed information on the early lives of the 4 perpetrators, the brothers, Daewoo and Khalid Farquhar, Shaheem Black and Bruce Vinay, is limited. Available court and media records described all of them as local men from West Philly with a mix of prior offenses and economic struggles that goes with the area. Their actions were primarily motivated by anger, revenge following a dispute involving a Dodge Intrepid and a Chevy Corsica that had been traded, then reclaimed after mechanical failures. The argument escalated into a fatal plan for retaliation, all because of one mistake. The prosecution made a plea deal with the 2 brothers. According to another report that was published just a few years ago, it clearly states the Faruqi brothers, after an emotionally charged trial, they were convicted of 7 counts of first degree and also received 7 consecutive life sentences. They were given life sentences rather than the death penalty. Get him and him out of here. And for Shaheem Black, he's up north. He's doing multiple life sentences. And on that note, you can get him up out of here. Get him out of here. Vinay admitted and testified. He drove the suspects to the scene, but didn't actually involve himself beyond that point. And that is going to cost you 15 to a 30 piece. That's too long for driving a car, baby bear. He dealt with some serious basketball numbers on his back too. Oh yeah, they got him up out of here. But he got kicked loose in 2019. So he's possibly still walking off a serious number for probation and parole. So he got to keep his nose clean. At the end of the day, come on, homie, it's not that deep. We all have to get better with conflict resolution. There's so much living to do out here in these streets. We got to think about it. We have to practice better de-escalation tactics. Or you're going to end up in the warehouse full of sausages, all shapes, sizes, and colors. Glizzies everywhere. That's not what time it is, homie. And I don't know about you. Well, that's all I got. But I'm not here to preach to you. I just thought I'd share. I already did my part, fam. The Lex Street Massacre was more than just a tragedy. It was a mirror held up to the system itself. What began as a desperate search for suspects ended in one of Philadelphia's most painful lessons in law enforcement failure. 4 innocent men were jailed for nearly 18 months, their lives suspended, haste, tunnel vision, and pressure to deliver justice fast, even if it wasn't the right justice. The fallout forced the Philadelphia Police Department and the District Attorney's Office to face hard truths. Internal reviews exposed flawed interrogation practices, unverified witness statements, and a culture that valued quick arrests over patient investigations. The Homicide Division, once praised for its clearance rates, was ordered to overhaul how it handled evidence, interviews, and public communication. In the years that followed, reforms took root. Trainings was expanded on witness reliability, case documentation, and handling of jailhouse informants. Supervisors were required to review homicide files before charges could be approved. And a new unit within the district attorney's office was established to review questionable convictions. That's a direct legacy of the Lex Street errors. Though policy changed, the scars remained. For the victims' families, reform could not erase loss. For the wrongfully accused, no apology could restore the stolen time. But the lessons born from failure reshaped how Philadelphia pursued truth. Slower, more deliberate, and accountable. Lex Street forced a reckoning, one that reminded a city and its police that justice must never be rushed, and the cost of getting it wrong is measured not in paperwork, but in human lives. When it's all said and done, in the quiet heart of West Philly, the memory of the rowhouse on Lex Street still stands as a silent witness to one of the city's darkest nights. 8 souls went in, only 1 came out, scarred, trauma, but alive. 7 lives ended in seconds, but the echoes of that gunfire would ripple for years through courtrooms, newsrooms, and the conscience of a city searching for truth. In the aftermath, 4 men lost nearly 2 years of freedom to a broken system. Their names were cleared, but their faith in justice was forever altered. You can't change that, and you can't take that back. The real perpetrators were eventually captured, convicted, and sentenced to life without parole. Except 1. Yet, even with the verdicts, there were no real victories, only lessons written in blood, errors, and pain. Each December, as winter settles over Philadelphia, a small crowd gathers on a quiet block. Once stained by tragedy, candles flicker. Beneath the cold night sky, their soft glow, tracing the outlines of faces that still remember. Faces of relatives, friends, and activists who refuse to let 7 names fade into silence. They come not for headlines, not for justice long delayed, but for memory. Some carrying old photos wrapped in plastic, their edges worn from years of grief. Others bring folded notes, handwritten prayers, and the same question that never seems to find an answer. Why? Why? The anniversary vigil has become more than a remembrance. It's an act of defiance, a promise that those lost on Lex Street will not be reduced to statistics or forgotten case files. Each candle lit is a declaration that love, even in its most broken form, endures longer than violence. Neighbors pause, cars slow down, and for a few minutes the city listens. The sounds of the names being read aloud drifts through the winter air. And in that moment, The block that once knew fear now knows unity. A community keeping faith with its past so that no one ever has to live in it again. Every year, the flames return, not only to mourn what was taken, but to keep it alive, what still matters: remembrance, resilience, and the unbroken bond of those who will never forget Lex Street. Damn. The Lex Street Massacre remains one of the deadliest mass shootings in Philadelphia's history. But beyond the crime scene and the headlines lies a deeper story. A reminder of how easily truth can be lost when haste replaces patience, and how fragile justice becomes when voices go unheard. For the lost souls, for the wrongly accused, and for a city still haunted by the dark shadows of that December night, Lex Street still endures. A name, a wound, and a warning forever cracked into Philadelphia's memory.
Oh no! Oh,
Okay, it's about that time.
No.
Subscribe, like, comment, share. You know the drill. And thank you for riding with
Bad Ape.
And until we see you on the next one.
Bad Ape.